If Nigeria happens to you, what would you do? Who would you call upon? And who would you expect to act on your behalf? On the 15th of May, 2026, some schools in Oyo State were attacked by terrorists. That same 15th of May, another school in Borno State was attacked the same day. And today, as we speak, we're already going into the middle of June, and those children are still in the abductors' den. What have you done as an individual? Your organization, what have you done? Educational bodies, what have you done? Faith-based organizations, what have you done to see how these children can get back to their homes and those parents can get to their families? And that is a challenge that I want us all to think about today. The former minister of power had some members of his family abducted, and in a space of 72 hours, they were rescued. Some children and their teachers have been abducted for almost a month. I do not know whatever step he may have taken before then as somebody who has been in power. However, 72 hours in comparison to the number of days that those children and their teachers have used in the abductors' den. The question here is, if you as a person actually acts like nothing happens and you are not bothered because it has not happened to you, especially for those in power, positions of authority, and people who can speak up, what happens when it comes over to you? Because if he can get his family members out in 72 hours, only God knows the number of calls he has made, the people who was able to call, the rich he has been able to have, and what was done to get them back home. Some would say, well, the people that were actually apprehended were not some particular tribe, militia. I agree. Some would even say, well, it's still within your state. And I agree. But then we should note, if it were to be the abductors from that other end actually did that job, knowing fully well that the children picked up from Oyo State are still in Oyo State as at the last time we checked, the question still goes back to us. What would you do if Nigeria happens to you? We have had situations where there are politically motivated attacks. Why do we have to get to that point when people can actually be allowed to make their choices of the leaders just by election? We have seen situations where parents, families, religious bodies are acting totally nonchalant to situations around the nation. Situations that should never happen that happen to us. And many would say, well, we can pray for them since it has not happened to us directly. People who got abducted actually get the terrorists asking for payments to be made. And the information we have is that terrorism has actually collected 2.3 million naira from us in Nigeria in the last 12-month window. And because we have not done anything, we have indirectly empowered terrorism to go on. Unfortunately, by constitutional capacities, the governors have little they can do. And even if they were to reach out to the presidency will still be waited upon to do something. And if they try to make some moves by themselves and they go through the commissioners of police of the state, the commissioner of police will still have to get permission from the presidency to be able to move on. And this is where another question comes up. Educational bodies, NUT, NAPS, AMIS, APS, ANCOPS, what have you done for these children? Our religious bodies, what have you done to make sure that these children actually get back home on time? And this is where I go back to my initial question. Because some people have had Nigeria happen to them, and that word Nigeria happening to somebody has become a thing. So I go back to where I started from. If Nigeria happens to you today, what would you do? My other question is, for those who Nigeria has happened to, what have you done to see to their betterment and their restoration back to their families and homes? If Nigeria happens to you today, would you expect to speak out or to act on your behalf to get you rescued? If Nigeria happens to you today, Who would you reach out to and how would you reach out to them? That is a food for thought for all of us now as citizens and whatever offices that we occupy in our various spaces. It's a question for us all to find ourselves to. And I hang my boot over here in hopes that we'll start rising from our different various spaces to act. See you.